The Boundless Authenticity Podcast presents to you the Portal to Ascension series. The Portal to Ascension Conference will be held April 21st to 23rd, 2023 at Marina Village Conference Center, San Diego, California. After 3 years of a collective dark night of the soul, the Portal to Ascension Conference is returning live and in person and is fully activated for the mission ahead of us all. As energy continues to shift and hidden truths are being uncovered, we are piecing together the fragmented parts of our existence to create awareness of the truth of who we are and remember our connection to the cosmos. This event is all about deprogramming ourselves from the outdated matrix system and remembering who we truly are at the core. Discover ancient origins, uncover hidden truths, and recover your true identity with guest speakers Alan Steinfeld, JJ and Desiree Hertog, Linda Moulton Howe, Robert Schock, Caroline Corey, Robert Edward Grant, Barbara Lamb, Michael Cremo, Ra of Earth, Adam Apollo, Neil Gar, Joan of Angels, John Block, Deborah Gusty, Michelle Anderson, Eric Rankin, Geraldine Orozco, Shareya Dharma, Laurie Wheeler, Torcum G, Lori Spania, Tangela, Jenna Layden, Sheila Seppi, Larissa Stowe, Fox Angelus, Stargate Experience, and Share the Light. Get tickets at ascensionconference.com. On this episode, I have a very informative conversation with Geraldine Orozco, who is a clinical hypnotherapist, meditation instructor, NLP, MBSRT, Qigong instructor, and owner of San Francisco-based Bay Area Meditation, which offers virtual corporate meditation programs internationally. Geraldine experienced a life-changing interdimensional contact experience which resulted in the activation of psychic abilities of the multidimensional body and energy field. In 2017, Geraldine underwent hypnotic regression therapy. Regressions uncovered a lifelong history of contact. Geraldine utilizes her medical and clairvoyant intuition to see soul fragmentation, Akashic Records, the morphogenetic hologram in all dimensional layers. She created DNA reprogramming in order to reintegrate fragmentation of the soul. Geraldine dedicates herself to the dissemination of knowledge of hybridization programs and the re-examination of the commonly held dogma of the human genetic timeline, historical record, and healing of the human biostructure. You can find Geraldine at hybridmother.com, bayareameditation.com, or instagram.com/geraldine.y.orozco. So Geraldine, how's it going?
Hi, I'm fantastic. Thank you so much for having me here. It's such an honor.
Awesome. Thank you for being on with me. So go ahead and tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so my name is Geraldine Orozco. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. I specialize in something called epigenetic psychotherapy. And my primary area of work is working with integration of trauma, ancestral, from the epigenetic standpoint, how collective trauma is passed down genetically. But also this work, I ended up at this work as a result of my contact experience in 2013, which triggered an activation of psychic abilities. And if it wasn't for those psychic abilities, it was essentially a medical psychic ability to see internal organs, the multidimensional field. I don't think I would have been able to understand the connection between trauma, interdimensional contact, and DNA. And essentially, I was introduced to hybrid children that were said to be mine in this experience. And it was shattering from my previous realm of knowledge and understanding of our reality. So I wasn't someone that even really believed in interdimensional contact in that way as such a physical, experiential thing until that experience. So it kind of shifted everything. So it took several years to kind of even begin to talk about it, even understand the language in how to research the information. But what I discovered, and I'm owner of Bay Area Meditation here in San Francisco, we teach corporate meditation programs as well as individual training. My source of knowledge has always been meditation. And this is how I found my answers, things that I would not able to be found outside. So I became a clinical hypnotherapist as a result of that, and just changed my life completely.
Oh, I'm so happy you said all of that stuff, but the part about meditation being your source of information, loved it.
Yeah, yeah,
I feel like that's something I shout at the top of rooftops all the time,
right.
and very few ears are open to hearing it.
Yes, or to do the work, and it's understandable. I mean, especially over the past couple of years, we've gone through a major kind of an uprooting of all kinds of things. Everything's falling apart, constructs of reality, ability to discern, family circles, nucleus, the way that we feel, a lot of internal wars about what's right, what's wrong, and being able to trust that intuition. So meditation is key. It's been difficult for many people to do it over the past couple of years, but we're coming back into an opening now where that is available. It's more available to people to connect, and even raising up another octave of frequency in which we can access more, see more intuition. I believe that this is the technology of the human that is advancing collectively, bringing us into the future, the next level of communication and vision as well. So we'll see.
Again, happy you said that. I agree, so tell us about your story of contact.
Sure. So my contact experience occurred. So I just want to preface that with the fact that I had taken about 4 months off work. I was owner of an event planning company, and I was doing very high-end events, had a very busy life, and there were some deep, profound questions about the nature of reality, including love and emotions and purpose that started to arise. And so it took me into a retreat. And I went into retreat for about those 4 months where I would meditate about 9 hours a day. And in this meditation is where I began to learn. I taught myself how to deprogram deep-seated programs, everything from your personality to your identities, just undoing all of those parts of myself until it took me down to the roots of my connections with my ancestral lineage. And as I traced these emotional roots down the lineages, I found that at the root of all of these belief systems were constructs of our reality. And the question was, who is in charge of creating these constructs and for what purpose? So it takes you down into the historical lineage. If you trace back our human history back to the origin of time, we begin to see that there's a lot of inherited programs that are installed into humanity, including everything from shame, manipulation of fear, and concepts of compartmentalizing reality, which are what we know as the matrix. And all of these carefully created and inputted through religious concepts, as well as politics, and the way that culture as well, through social engineering. So when I became aware of that, I began to also become aware of another level of that information. And this is where I had my contact experience in October of 2013, where in the middle of the night, went to bed about 12 and was woken up at exactly 3:33 in the morning to an incredibly white light in my room that, beside the fact that my window was completely closed, my shades were closed, the light lit up wall to wall, floor to ceiling, everything. And I, couldn't continue sleeping. It kept making me want to wake up. So as I wake up, I wait for a minute and I think there might be someone outside with a car. I live on a curved, a very quiet suburban neighborhood. So there's not a lot of traffic there, So for a minute, it scared me, it sent a chill down my spine. But I got out of bed, I waited for a little bit, listened quietly. I didn't hear anything but a very, very small rumbling vibration sound, very, very low sound. So I look at my phone, I see the time, I put it down, I walk to the window. And when I walk to the window, I look outside. And as I'm on my tippy toes looking outside, my entire body paralyzes. And I am literally drawn in that paralysis out of my window. I feel myself going through the window. I feel my body coming apart, literally, and kind of coming back together on the other side. And as I'm standing outside of my house on top of my garage, there's the roof on top of the garage, a light from the left here, gigantic white light, emerges these 6 little shadows that then form into these shapes of beings that have larger enlarged heads. Are about 7 foot tall beings. They look like gigantic, kind of an exoskeleton body. And they're kind of grayish color. And as they come close to me, they have these incredibly gigantic eyes. And I mean, obviously, I was horrified because I at that time, I never was interested in sci-fi films. I didn't watch any films about ETs that would have been able to create an image like this. It was just shattering for me. So at that point, I was brought in with them. It was as if time stood still. There was no wind. There was no sounds, animals walking around, no cars, nothing. Absolute silence. So as I'm brought into this craft, I'm stepping into the craft, and the craft is like a light, but it doesn't stay exactly in one shape. It's kind of like a plasma technology of some sort, and it is conscious and it's organic. And I don't know how better way to explain that. But as you step into the craft, it literally responds to you. There is a kind of lavender pinkish light, metallic lavender pinkish light, unlike anything I've known here, that it emits internally, and it is a double-sided kind of donut-shaped entrance because it's a lenticular shape. And when I go to the left, I'm being brought into this space where a hologram is created, I suppose, to kind of cover the interior, maybe not see exactly where I'm going, but direct me exactly where I need to go. And as they show me this hologram of this obtuse glass building, I'm stepping inside. Everything looks very fake. There's this incredible little Japanese garden on the backside that it looks very fake. And I turn around and I look back to where I came, and I see 2 tall grays with my aunt in her nightgown being walked in front of me. And as I'm about to call her name, I'm trying to see, like, what are you doing here? She's completely unconscious. She's just walking in between them, and she gets taken in on the other side of that hologram, just through the hologram. And next thing I know, they remove everything, and now I'm inside of the field, inside of this craft. And I'm looking around, and to my right, there's this beautiful oval console with this incredible hologram of the universe, of planets and stars that I believe is some kind of navigation system. And beyond that is the craft is translucent. I can see through. I can actually see the stars on the other side of that. And as I pan across the room, there are 3 grays. Now they're shorter grays, probably around 3-4 feet tall, holding this holographic prism, and with 8 layers from which all kinds of information starts to emerge. From the first layer starts to emerge this alien language. It's a symbols, dots, mathematical symbols that we know as humans. But the more I would try to focus, the less I would understand, the less I would try to focus and just watch. I began to get telepathic images. And the images that I got were overwhelming because it was images that were incredibly expansive concepts that included the individual in the state, the city, the country, the world, the planet, the solar system, and the universe. That's how each thought form was kind of translated through this communication. And, it was just mind-blowing. So all of that occurred. And from the next layer, they put those words into a notebook, I guess letting me know that I was going to have access to that information later. But from the second prism came out planets, and I recognized the constellation as a constellation of Pleiades, the 7 sisters. And I know the Pleiades as the 7 sisters because as a child, for some reason, I would be able to find this constellation and I would pray to it. I would say, please, Mother of Aquarius. I don't know why I would say that. Back then I didn't know, now I know. But I would recite this, and it would be my kind of spiritual experience. And we were taken to the planet Maya. So we traveled to the planet Maya, and they show me the planet in detail. I see the terrain, completely different earth structure, completely different chemistry, physics, everything, the beings there, and they show me a series of things there and my connection to it, essentially. And then we're brought back. And I'm telling you the short version just because it's very long with all kinds of little details, but just so you understand, I guess, an overview of the experience. The most impactful thing after that was that from the next layer came out 8 little lights. And from those 8 little lights, 4 children manifested in front of me. And as soon as I saw those 4 children, this is now back in the craft, the 4 children make eye contact with me, and I recognize myself in them. They recognize me, and it was just this incredible maternal instinct that I knew that this was something that came from me, and that, I began to search my memories. How could I have forgotten that I had these children? It was very confusing and quite shocking at the time. But as we made the exchange, then the children knew that I was there only to present, to just meet them, and that's it. And the children then vanished. There were 4 of them, different. They were hybrids, which means that they were a combination of humanoid and another kind of species. One species that looked reptilian, and I know that sounds pretty interesting, but literally kind of skin that would look like scales, and the form of their skull was just different. It was like like mounds, like little bumps on top of the head. And the other one had enlarged head like a gray, and had really large eyes. The pupil of the eyes were like the size of our ocular sockets. And the colors were fantastic. The pigmentation inside of the iris was just insane and holographic. So it was just something out of this world. The skin was thin. It was like noodle type consistency. The hair, it was just, but the connection was profound. It was chilling because they could see and they knew everything about me, even more than I think I knew about myself at that moment. So that being said, I became emotional because I said, I can't leave these children now. But I heard telepathically the word, why do you suffer? It was a question. And they began to show me the matrix. And how they showed me that was they began to show me a flower, and they took me down to the molecular level of that flower to begin to show me how the molecules are moving, how they create this network, holographic network, and how the souls encapsulate into these holographic networks. And that was the beginning of a profound understanding of peace and interconnectivity and unity that transcended anything I'd ever experienced. And when I then, after that experience, I find myself at the end of my bed, upside down. My body is aching. And as I open my eyes, I have like these burn marks. It's like little red bumps and burns here on the sides of my eyes. Because I didn't mention that the light was so bright that it was stronger than the sun, this light of this craft. And I was shaking, and I had my phone. I went to grab my phone, and I was going to call 911. I was going to call the hospital because I was thinking, who do I talk to about alien children? That was my first thought. And it was just, I didn't know what to do with it. I was so sick, kind of, because my body was just not adjusting. I went to bed the whole day. On Monday, when I went back to work and I sat down in front of my client, it was like this world had changed completely. I could see the organs of my client. I can see energy, colors, lights, fields in her body. I mean, she was just this incredible being of light. And I could telepathically hear everything she was thinking and feeling and sensing in my body. And I really couldn't, after that session, go back home. And I couldn't work for another 3 months. I couldn't leave my house. I couldn't do anything because of the level of sensitivity. Like, it literally hurt my body to go into a grocery store because of the sensitivity. I could hear people's thoughts at a mall, many of them. So it took some time. And so this is what happened. It completely changed my mind about everything in this world, but it did answer my question, what is beyond this construct of what we know as the Matrix? And from there began another level of understanding and opening, a channeling that allowed me to understand even